let's take a look at our last lesson in this unit. Hopefully a lot of today is another sort of review day because we have done everything that we are doing today. The only difference is we're making it 2 equations. So let's look at some step-by-step instructions. We are graphing systems of linear inequalities. You're going to see less thans and greater thans today. First step, put both equations in slope-intercept form. So let's jot down maybe an extra little note. First note, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. I do have something in parentheses that's extremely important to go along with that. We have a very important rule. If you divide by a negative, switch the symbol. That is nothing new. You've heard that before, but we all like to forget about it. Once you've gotten your equations in y equals mx plus b, we're going to graph them both on the same grid. Now, I suggest doing one all the way through and then the other one all the way through because it'll keep you from making less mistakes. But let's look at some little things you have to again remember. There's 2 types of lines. There are dashed lines that look like that. That is when we have less than and greater than symbols. No bars underneath. Then we have solid lines. Like that. That is when there are bars underneath. After you graph the line, you then have to shade up or down. Now, I do suggest using 2 different colors that will keep your work easier to understand here. We do need to remember some rules, though. We shade up when we are greater than or greater than or equal to. We shade down below the line when we are less than or less than or equal to. And then finally, your actual solution is the area where both shadings, which is why I suggest 2 different colors, where both shades overlap. You need to make sure that I can clearly see this area. Now, I want to remind you guys, this was one of the tests that we didn't necessarily learn our rules. Make sure you have your dividing by a negative rule memorized. Make sure you have dashed and solid memorized. Make sure you have up and down memorized. None of that will be provided. You must know those rules. So that's the notes part of it. So let's look at some examples. First example, first step, we have to get y by itself. I'm going to use 2 different colors the whole time. I'm going to start with red. So to get y by itself, I'm going to put up my line. I need to move the x. That is a 1x. So I'm going to subtract 1x from both sides. What do we still have left? Be careful. That's not 2. That is negative 2y. Keep your symbol. Don't make it an equal sign. Negative 1x plus 3. Next step, divide by negative 2. We get y. Now, I just divided by a negative. That means I need to take my sign and make it go the other direction. Here's where your calculators are handy. Negative 1 divided by negative 2, you will get a decimal. If you hit math, enter, enter, we get positive 1/2 x. Then 3 divided by negative 2 is negative 1.5, and decimals are okay for b, just not for m. So we're going to do all parts of this one completely through. So I'm going to start graphing this one. What do I do first? I start at my starting point. I go down 1.5. I then look at my slope. Positive 1 is up 1. Positive 2 is right 2. Go up 1, I'm in the middle of a box, go right 2. Up 1, middle of a box, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. We ran out of space. Let's go back to where we came from. Instead of up, I go down 1 and left 2. Down 1 and left 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. When you draw your lines for these, they must touch two sides of the graph. You cannot draw short lines because we have to be able to shade. Now, before I draw my line, I got to look at my symbol and decide if it's dashed or solid. Well, this has a bar underneath. Because it has a bar underneath, I am drawing a solid line. So I'm going to go solid all the way across and fix that so that it's straight. Okay, now I have to shade. I need to look back at my symbol. This is a greater than symbol. Greater than means I shade up. So from this line, I'm going to shade all of this area up above the line. Nice and clearly shaded, I will have no problem seeing where they overlap. Let's do all those same steps with the second equation. I'm going to switch to blue now. So if I look at my equation, well, first thing I got to do is get y by itself. Guess what? Y is already by itself. So I'm ready to graph. So I need to start down 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. My slope is 3 over 1. So I'm going to go up 3 because it's positive and right 1 because it's positive. So up 1, 2, 3, right 1. 1, 2, 3, right 1. 1, 2, 3, up 3, right 1. I'm out of space. Let me go back here. Down 3, left 1. Down 3, left 1. Now I have to draw my line. I look at my symbol. Is that dashed? I'm sorry, is it going to be dashed or solid? There is no bar, which means it's a dashed line. So I'm going to draw a nice, long, dashed line through all of my points that I just made. Final step is I need to decide whether I shade up or down. So I am going to look here at my symbol. That is a greater than, which means I shade up. So I know it's kind of weird, but if I started this line and I go up, I am shading this area. So I'm going to shade all of this. So I like blue and red because, of course, I'm looking for where the two colors overlap. And well, blue and red, if you don't know, they make purple. So if I look at my graph, the area that is purple is all of this over here. So I can clearly see that that is my answer area. And that's all we have to do on these. So let's look at example 2 together. Okay? So first equation, go back to red, got to get y by itself. Well, look, y is already by itself. However, that's only y. There is no x there. When there is only y, we make the note that this is a Hoy equation. Because Hoy ends in y, which means I have a horizontal line. So I'm going to go to the y-axis, and I'm going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I am going to make a horizontal line, but I need to know is it dashed or solid. That has a bar, so it is a solid horizontal line. There's my nice solid horizontal line. Third step of the process, I need to shade. This is a greater than symbol. Greater than, we always shade up. So I'm going to grab my pink highlighter, and I'm going to shade up from this line. And we are done with the first one. Let's look at the second one. Is Y by itself this time? No. So I'm going to switch to blue, put up my line, move X first, so I'm going to subtract 4X. I keep my 2Y, I keep my less than, I then have negative 4X plus 20. Ready to divide. I am dividing by 2. I keep Y. Did I divide by a negative? No. So I keep my symbol that way. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2X. And positive 20 divided by 2 is positive 10. We're ready to graph. I start at positive 10, so I need to go all the way up from here 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am at the very top. I need my slope. Well, my slope is negative 2. I need it as a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. So I'm going to go down 2 and right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Keep going again and again and again. Oops, until I run out of space. Next step, I got to decide, do I have a dashed or a solid line? Well, I look at this, I see absolutely no bars, so I know I'm drawing a blue dashed line. Oops, a little crooked. There we go. And the final step, I need to shade. Well, this is a less than, and less than is down. So I'm going to go from my line, and I'm going to go down. So I'm going to shade this whole area right here. And again, as you can see, we have a nice purple wedge up in here. That is our answer area. Hopefully you're like, oh, wait a minute, we've done all this. This is easy to review. Let's keep going. Why don't you guys pause the video and try this one on your own? Okay, let's see how you did. First equation, we need to get Y by itself. Put up my line. I'm going to move the 9x by adding 9x. I'm left with negative 3y less than 9x plus 0. Divide by negative 3. Keep my y. I just divided by a negative, so the sign has to go the other way. 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3x. 0 divided by negative 3 should give you 0. You're ready to graph this line. I'm going to start at 0, which means I stay right here in the middle. I need a slope as a fraction though, so I'm going to put a 1 underneath. I'm going to go down 3 and right 1. Down 3, right 1. Down 3, right 1. And again. Now I'm going to go back to where I was. I'm going to go up 3 and left 1, up 3, left 1, up 3, left 1. Dashed or solid line. That has no bar, which means I need a dashed line. And final step, I need to shade. That is a greater than symbol, So because it is greater than, I'm going to shade up. So from this line, I'm going to go up and shade all of this region. So I think that part you may have done okay on by yourself. I'm thinking the next one might have confused some of you. So when I look at that, I can see why you guys get confused. But you're not always going to have them in the nice form you're used to. So we're going to talk about how to fix it. The first thing that sometimes confuses students is y is on the wrong side. We can fix that real easily. If you want 5y first, we're going to put 5y. But because the open part is towards the 5, the open part stays towards the 5. The x, I'm going to put on the other side, and I'm going to go ahead and throw a 1 in front of it just to make my life easier. There you go. That fixed one problem. The next problem is we like to move too much stuff. Your y is over here. The only thing with your y is the 5. So I'm going to put on my line. The only thing I need to do is divide by 5. That leaves me with y. That's a positive, so I keep my sign. 1 divided by 5 is a decimal. Math, enter, enter, keeps it exactly the same. Now what most of you think is, wait a minute, I'm missing something. This is a normal line. The only thing you are missing is your starting point. If you are ever missing your starting point, it is always plus 0. Next step of the process, we need to graph. So I forgot to change to blue. I'm going to change to blue now. I start at 0. Same place my other one started. The slope is positive 1, so I go up 1 and right 5. Up 1, right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Up 1, right 5. Come back here, go down 1 and left 5. Down 1 and left 5. What kind of line do we need? Dashed or solid? That has a bar. That means we need a solid line. So I'm going to draw my nice solid line. Final step, which way do I shade? That is a greater than sign. So I shade up. And as you can see, we still have a small little purple wedge over here in the top right-hand corner. All right, we got 2 more. Let's look at the next one together. All right, got to get y by itself. Back to red. Put on my fence. Got to move 2x by subtracting 2x. Don't lose your negative. That leaves me with a negative 4y less than negative 2x minus 20. I need to divide by negative 4. My y is by itself. I just divided by a negative, so switch the sign. Negative 2 divided by negative 4 is a decimal. We hit math, enter, enter, and we get positive 1/2 x. Negative 20 divided by negative 4 is positive 5. Let's graph it. Starting at positive 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to go up 1 and right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. And up 1, right 2. Going down. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. Same thing. One more time. Dashed or solid line. No bar, dashed line. final step is shading. That is a greater than. So I'm going to shade up from my line. Up this way and over and that way. All right. Next equation, switching to blue. We also got to get y by itself. I need to move the negative 2x by adding 2x. That leaves me with 4y less than or equal to 2x minus 12. I need to divide everything by 4. Keep y. That was a positive 4, so I keep my sign. 2 divided by 4 is a decimal. Math enter, enter is 1/2 x. And negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. I need to draw my line, so I'm going to start at negative 3 down. 1, 2, 3 down. Up 1, right 2. Up 1 and right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Whoops, I went right 1. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Go back and go down and left. Down and left. Keep going until you run out of space. Next, I need to draw my line. That has a bar underneath, so I'm going to draw a nice, solid blue line. I am going to shade, because this is a less than, I'm going to shade down. So I'm going to shade this area underneath. So, what do you notice this time? Well, I notice that there's no purple. And that's a problem. If there is no purple, we have to write an answer to this problem. Since there is no area where they overlap, you would write no solution. Whoops, if I could spell right. No solution. That is a necessity. If you don't write no solution, you don't get full credit. Last example to look at. Why don't you pause the video, try this one on your own, and then pick it back up. Okay, let's see how you did. We need to get y by itself. Going back to red. We need to move 3x. I'm going to subtract 3x, subtract 3x. Those cancel. I have negative 2y is greater than 3x, take away 3x. That is 0. They are gone. So many of you made mistakes on this on your Unit 1 test. If these are opposites, they completely cancel. Nothing left but the negative 8. Now I need to divide by negative 2. That leaves me with y. That was a negative, so my sign goes the other way. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4. What do you notice about this equation? I notice there's no more x's. No more x's means this is a Hoy problem. Hoy means horizontal. I'm going to go to 4 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a dot. Dashed or solid, there is no bar here. So we have a dashed red line that is horizontal. And finally, I need a shade. This is less than, so I need to shade down. And let's look at the other equation. This one is already solved, but there is no y. There is only x. When there is only x, it is vox, which means it is vertical. But the -2 needs to go on the x-axis, which means I need to actually go left 2. And I need to draw, since this has a bar underneath, a solid vertical line. Okay, so now that we have our vertical solid line, we need to decide which way we are shading. This is a greater than. Greater than normally means we shade up, but because this is a vertical line, we need to either shade right or left, and greater than is to the right. So I'm going to use my blue highlighter and highlight all the area to the right. And as you guys can see, we have this nice purple region where they overlap, because red and blue make purple, and that is our answer region. So at this point, you can go ahead and start on your homework if you would like. Otherwise, I will see you in class next time.